I've been speedrunning The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess for around 10 years, and have played a part in making the routes for several categories, including Pirate RRTA, Low Percent, 100% Plus, and the one I'm personally most proud of, Low Transforms. The story of Low Transforms is a very interesting one, involving a lot of thought and contributions from several runners just to make a working route, and I genuinely had thought that it would take a big discovery to change the category in any dramatic way. I generally feel like I know most things that Twilight Princess has to offer, having run every category, learned most of the glitches that have been discovered, and having contributed to routes for several categories. But I know that there are things I haven't yet learned about the game. For example, apparently digging as a wolf moves Link slightly backward. I didn't learn that until last week. In a lot of cases, when people come to me and suggest something that could potentially help improve a route, it's something I had already thought of, and there's usually a good reason why it doesn't work. One of the most common suggestions can be found in the YouTube comments of low percent related videos. The suggestion of doing a pickup slide through the barrier in Castletown to reach Hyrule Castle early. The reason this doesn't work is very simple. There isn't anything in the area we can use to start a pickup slide, and pickup slides won't keep going through loading zones. Through the many suggestions, though several don't end up being useful, sometimes one catches my eye as an idea that I hadn't considered before. One of these comments was about to change Low Transforms forever. For context, we had thought that we needed to perform a pickup slide through the Poe Gate in Arbiter's Grounds twice. The first time was to get the spinner, the dungeon item of Arbiter's Grounds, and the second was to go to Palace of Twilight. We need to beat City in the Sky before going to Palace of Twilight, and we need the spinner to beat City in the Sky, meaning that we would need to go to City in the Sky between getting the spinner and entering Palace of Twilight, but we didn't have a way to leave the desert and get to City in the Sky that would have allowed us to return past the Poe Gate, so we would need to return to the start of Arbiter's Grounds and do another pickup slide to go to Palace of Twilight. On December 18th, 2023, however, a comment came in through the Twilight Princess Speedrunning Discord from a relative newcomer to the community, named Morgan. Their suggestion was simple. Could we use the Cave of Ordeals fairies to leave the desert, allowing us to keep the Arbiter's Grounds Uku, and therefore allowing us to warp back to the second half of the dungeon? I read this comment and had the thought of, wait, the Cave of Ordeals fairies can warp Link out of the desert? I probably knew that long ago in a casual gameplay, but as speedruns have little need to talk to the fairies, I had forgotten it. If this worked as Morgan had suggested, it would save 10 hours in the speedrun. 10 hours that I had long since decided wasn't possible to be saved. I then thought of if it might work from a routing perspective, or if we could fit the requirements to get to Cave of Ordeals into the transforms we already had. To get to Cave of Ordeals, first we need to blow up these rocks, sometime between Goron Mines and Lakebed Temple. That will spawn a portal and some shadow beasts, but take away the bridge piece. Fortunately, we already beat Goron Mines before Lakebed Temple, so blowing up these rocks would be easy to slot in. Then, as the warped bridge piece is blocking the entrance to Cave of Ordeals, we would then need to find a time to warp the bridge piece back to its place, opening up the cave. We can do this too, but it requires visiting the desert early in the run to open the portal so that we can warp there and warp the bridge piece out during the last wolf section. If that all worked out well, then we'd be able to leave Arbiter's Grounds with Uku after getting the spinner, then enter Cave of Ordeals, warp out with the first fairy, and make our way through the rest of the run. I had already been planning on doing a Low Transforms run on December 19th, one day after Morgan's suggestion was made, so I thought I'd try this new route idea out. I couldn't think of any reason that it would fail, but I wasn't certain. Twilight Princess has a tendency to not want speedruns getting faster. I can honestly say that the run was one of the worst performed runs I've done in recent years, but the route worked more or less perfectly, and we learned a few extra things on the way. If the bridge has been warped away, for example, before fighting King Boblin 1, the bridge will be missing in the fight. We knew that, but we didn't know that the bridge will still be missing in the fight after it had been warped back. That was fun and slightly terrifying to discover. At the end of the run, I had saved 9.5 hours and got a new world record of 15:02:19. The route didn't require much tweaking to add the necessary things. There are a few small changes though, like that we only fight King Boblin 6 times instead of 7. It's a little sad to see the 7th fight go, but maybe having to roll through the desert 2 extra times makes up for it. Just look at the mesmerizing repeating sand patterns. Though the routers of games like Twilight Princess have already thought of most things that could be used to save significant time in a route, most reroutes in the game stem from someone having a small thought, or uncovering an old glitch that could be useful. Even the most recent reroute of any percent, the most popular category, was based around a glitch that was found back in 2013, but dismissed as basically useless. Perhaps there are many more secrets to be rediscovered and used, whether by people that have been running the game for a long time, or simply through the power of small comments. Huge shoutouts to Morgan, who I've linked in the description. If you're interested in learning more about low transforms, check out this video I made on it. I'm Manorakis, and thank you for watching.